Welcome to Grow My Etsy Shop podcast, the drips of knowledge you need to start growing.
Hey, welcome. So before I jump in, I'm going to do a quick pitch. My year-long mastermind program, which is that you come in with Jared at a seat at the table with other Etsy shops. And when I say other Etsy shops, 50 other Etsy shops. No. 20 other Etsy shops. No. 5 other Etsy shops. Yes. Literally. That's what it is. It is a small table, myself and some Etsy shops that I've hand selected, that I feel like have some skill sets and some skin in the game and know what they're doing, but are also in that same mindset of, hey, this year we want our best year on Etsy. We want direction and where we're going. So many Etsy shops have grown, and some of that's through luck, some of that's just through the talents, but then they sort of don't know what the next steps are. And so they kind of flounder a bit, and Etsy will eat you alive. If you just kind of take your foot off the gas for a second, or just say, well, I'm guessing the business of fulfilling orders, those orders will start getting a little less and less unless we're making the right stuff. And so the whole point of the mastermind is that it's not just me that you have access to, though you do. You have my WhatsApp. We meet twice a month. We do several one-on-ones throughout the year. We meet as a group. We meet as I bring in guest speakers who talk about, TikTok shop and all sorts of different stuff that you can learn and see what it looks like and how your brand would specifically there. One of the biggest questions I get is like, well, what's the one-on-one time? It's like, dude, there's only 5 of you or 6 of you. And so a ton. There's a lot of one-on-one time. I have the names of every member of my mastermind on a board that sits directly in front of me. I look at it every day. we talk on it is a program built for growth. It is, like I said, it's my best thing. So I've had lots of people sign up, but I do want to say this. If you are a new shop, if you are a shop who's kind of figuring things out, a shop that hasn't quite turned the corner, I have stuff for you. That's the growth program. This is for shops that are like, yeah, I do this full time. Yeah, I pay my bills with this. Yeah, I want to take this into the next level. Or I have someone in my group who's in the top 1% of Etsy sellers, brick and mortar, the whole thing. And so that's who you'd be rubbing shoulders with. And all of us are here. And what we do is I'll give you, like I shared, I'm sorry this is kind of all over the map, but there is one of the meetings that we do a month is legit a time where you come in, you share what you're doing, what you're working on, what's been working for you, what you've been struggling with, and we counsel. So someone can say, oh gosh, I've been trying to do XYZ. I'm not getting the results that I'm hoping for. I thought this would work better than it is. What do you guys think? And you can have not just me, but other shop owners who you'll be friends with because you see them every month, several times a month. You're going to know their store just as well as I do. They're going to know yours just as well as I do. And they're going to be able to say, well, I'm confused at that. Or have you tried this? Or, hey, we ran into this problem last week or last year or 6 years ago. Or, yeah, we're doing something similar. This is what worked for us. Or, hey, we tried that and we fell short about right there. And so it was a lot of time. We spent a lot of money to figure that out and it didn't work for us. And you can be like, oh, okay, cool. Super helpful to know, which is kind of the quote that I hear the most. People say, that is super helpful to know. And so I did have, like I said, I've signed a couple people up this week. It closes by April. We start in April. And so, but I did have a lot of people sign up who were kind of newer shops and things like that. And so I just want to make sure I am reaching the people who this is meant for. This is meant for, hey, I do Etsy full time. This is my income. And I've been able to grow it, but I can't grow it anymore. I'm looking for guidance at this point to help me grow, or I don't know where to grow from here. I know it can grow. I just don't know where to take it. That's what this group is for. And that's who you'll be sitting with and rubbing shoulders with. And that's where all these programs and things start to make a lot of sense to you because they're built for that person. Okay, sign up below if you're interested. Now, let's talk. So I wrote down several things that I wanted to talk about this week, kind of as I was working with people and whatnot, and none of them connect. So this is going to be one of them podcasts that we kind of go subject to subject to subject. It's going to be impossible for me to title it. Buckle up, baby. So the first thing that I just kind of want to briefly talk about, and there's no major call to action in this. I just want to make you aware of it, is that there are two different spots that mean a lot to a customer. One is, and we know, well, let me rephrase this. Your product means a lot to the customer. Your experience, if you send them a broken whatchamacall, they're not going to be overly excited about this. So I'm just making the assumption that you are going to deliver a good product. So now you're like, yes, Jared, I make a great product. Wonderful. Where should you put your emphasis when it comes to, touch points and things like that? That's what I want you to talk about here. So the first one is the first impression. The first impression is what allows someone, it sets the tone for the entire experience that you have. So there's this interesting thing in e-commerce, which is that when people come to a website, they're internally asking themselves, am I in the right place? Is this where I'm supposed to be? That's a question. Now it's not, word for word in their mind, but there's a version of that that's running through their mind. Am I supposed to be here, and am I in the right place? So they're trying to figure that out as fast as they can. So there's that book, you've probably heard of it before. It's called Think Fast and, oh my gosh, what is it called? Think Fast and Slow? Thinking Fast and Slow. It's by a guy named Daniel, I remember. I think it's called Thinking Fast and Slow, which is this decision making of how we make decisions, which is that there's a part of us that moves lightning fast as we're making these. So for example, if I'm walking down the street, this is just inherent in us, and some guy comes up with missing teeth and no shoes and says, hey, let's go in the back alley, I want to sell you something. You're going to make a decision real quick. There's not going to be much debate in whether or not you should do this. You're going to be like, no, sounds good. If you are interested in something and you're looking for a couch, you're going to make a decision really quick on the type of couch that you want, and then you're going to make a slow decision on which couch you want. Does that make sense? Because you're going to go in and be able to recognize and see couches quickly, understand the vibe of the place that you're in. And so if you're a very high-end client and you walk into I can't think of a cheap furniture store, you would recognize really quick, this is bargain furniture, like a Big Lots. That's the only thing I can think of. No, I'm not going to buy my furniture from Big Lots. But if you are someone who wants very cheap furniture, you're going to walk into Big Lots and recognize quickly, this is where I'm supposed to be. And so you've made decisions without even making decisions, just by staying. Then as you start to wander, you're going to see patio furniture. You're going to see, couches that look like they should be patio furniture. And then you're going to see one that maybe is lighter. And you're like, yes, that fits my house perfect. Like, you're going to walk over to that couch. And then your decision making starts to slow down. But there's lots of decisions that build up to that. And a lot of that has to do with the first impression. So for me, I have long hair, and it's straight long hair. If I wear it down, I look like Lord Farquaad. And so I don't. But it's not because I don't look like Lord Farquaad. I would embrace that look. It's because I look like a stoner with my hair down. And so I'm, trying to present myself in a professional. I already talk like a second grader. So if I come walking in as a second grader with my hair, I'm looking like the dude from Hocus Pocus, like the bully from Hocus Pocus, like that's not going to do me any, I'm not getting any new clients like this. So I wear my hair up all the time. Why? Because I understand that it's a little bit more clean cut. It looks better, and people are going to take me more seriously. And do I notice that when my hair's down, people, yes, 1,000,000,000%. I'm sure all of you have had an experience. It could be even sometimes glasses on, glasses off, that you have this experience of like, oh, people treat me different based on how I look. And it's like, yes. That is 100% true. So your shop is the same way, right? Your shop has to present. And so for Etsy, we have to make sure that that is in our pop picture. I had this person I was working with this week. We had an interesting conversation, and we ended up not making any major changes to her shop due to data, but she sells snow globes, DIY snow globes. And when I was looking at her shop, I was like, I can see that you use a lot of AI in your front image. And to me, that screams drop shipped. It means that you are buying stuff from China and reselling it to me at a higher price because you don't have pictures of your product. You're not advertising it. You're not showing it to me in its real form. And that usually is a sign of, because it's ugly. And she said to me, Jared, it's actually the opposite. When I try to take pictures of a snow globe, it's impossible. And the glare was bad and it looked really cheap. And it wasn't until I started using AI that my sales started to go up. So we just kind of said, okay, let's put a pin in this because we do know this is a concern that I have. So let's just try to address it later in the funnel. Let's try to solve that as they are scrolling through, as opposed to, ignoring it or whatever. So that first impression, that pop picture, is an important place. And there's two different branches now I want to go from this. We want to confirm our identity and set the value frame. The longer I've been in business, the longer I have grown a testimony of price anchoring. It makes a difference. And the more I study it and the more I watch it in the wild, the more I see it. Walking into an Old Navy, what do they got? They got their trendy new clothes right at the front with a nice big old price tag on it. Walk halfway into the back of Old Navy, you find affordable clothing that's pretty much the same. What's happening? They're price anchoring you. Why do I feel like that's a good deal? Because I walked past more expensive things to get to the good deal. That is a price anchor technique that takes place. I was speaking to someone who has $1,000 product and they sell it in events. So they go and conventions and things like that. And he was sharing, I have this $1,000 product, and we're sort of bashful about it because people look at it. He says, I can see the look on their face when they see it. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that's $1,000. I can't believe it. Like, this had so much money to ask for this. We then, in our conversation, we're saying, this anchors what's in front of them now. They look up because this thing's displayed and see this $1,000 display, and then look down and see very affordable options from that $1,000. They're going to a la carte their experience here. And he has said 100% that's what they do. They see it, they see the value of it, and then they come down and they a la carte from that and build their own version that's more in their, price range in their head. But that $1,000 gives them the value of what that product is. Shops do this. I'm reading a book called The Ultimate Guide to E-commerce Growth. And in this book, it talks about putting expensive things at the top of each category because that anchors the category. If you're selling clothing, put your expensive pants at the top. If they click on shirts, put some expensive shirts at the top. And then as they scroll down, suddenly things become a little bit more affordable. And they're making an assumption that the quality isn't dropping. It's just that we're moving further down to maybe things that aren't quite as trendy, or they have more inventory of, or whatever it may be. So can we mimic this in our Etsy shop? Of course. We can put things and feature things that are a little bit more expensive up front and then work people down into what we are selling. And I love that. I recently one of my friends won Salesman of the Year. And so he went to the Bahamas with his company and he had to work. It's like, what? Salesman of the Year. Okay, but we can't afford to have you take a week off. So can you work in the Bahamas? Anyway, he has one kid. I've got 97 kids. So he's like, hey, can I just throw my kid into your industrial line that you have? I was like, yep, that's fine. So his kid was with us. Hopefully he had good survival techniques because I don't think I said one word to him the whole week. But that's not true because we were talking at one point and he mentioned something about the jacket he was wearing. He said, this is $100 jacket. And I know his parents. Frugal. So I was like, bruh, no. That is not $100 jacket. Plus, I'm looking at it. This thing looks like something you can get off at Target. I didn't say this to him, obviously. I said, $100? Really? He said, yeah, it's $100 jacket. I said, did you pay $100 for it? He said, no, I got it for $20. I said, where did you get it? He said, Marshall's. And I thought, well, there's some good price anchoring for you. Because in his mind, there was this premium jacket that's worth $100. He got it for $20. Anyway, I share that story with you just to appreciate anchoring at its best. Okay, so now I want to talk about this, which is the confirming identity. So this is going back to our thought of someone comes to your listing and is doing a flash thinking. I like the term flash because that's literally how quick it is. And they're making a decision. Are they in the right place? Is this product going to solve what I want? Is it going to give me what I want? This is why, and you've heard me say this, I push that emotional selling points quick. Because I know if I can hook them emotionally, then when they slow down their thinking is when we then bring in logic and we bring in justification to that purchase. But in the beginning, I got to hit you first. So I was kind of contemplating the best way to do this, and I was reading those books as I was telling you. And one of the ideas that was brought up in this book that I thought was really good was that he talked about, he had a lame name for it, the elevator pitch or something like that. And I thought, well, I got to rebrand that. So I'm going right place hook. That's what I'm going to call it. Right place hook. Yeah, I like that. A right placed hook is when you, and I love this exercise. It's when we take our reviews, we go through our reviews, we find what our customers like about our product and what they didn't like about other people's products. So if we can see the negative reviews in some other people's products, if we can look at the positive reviews of our products, we can create a message of like, oh, people didn't like this and people love this. And then you can go two different directions with your right place hook, which is to quickly say that information as in the listing itself. We're talking picture 2, picture 3, in the video. Text on video, game changer, guys. If you don't have text on your video, you're missing out. That video is being watched. People don't skip the video. It is important, and it fulfills so much of what a buyer needs to make a decision. Because keep in mind, when we post our pictures, we are posting pretty, edited, enhanced pictures, the perfect angle. We go through the Rolodex of what we've taken. We find the best one, and that's what we present. And a customer knows this. They're fully aware this is the best picture of the product that they could take, which is why when it's crappy, they're like, oh boy, not interested. But when it's really nice, it catches their attention. But then it becomes, okay, I need to, how many of you have done this? You go, you look at something on Amazon and you immediately go down to the reviews looking for someone's pictures. You just want to see someone else's version of this. Cause got it. Your white background, all cut up, AI enhanced. I just want to see the real thing. I think a lot of people do it. I mean, I know a lot of people do it. So what you can do in a video is satisfy that demand for them. They can see it. You're handling it. You're moving it. And I always tell people this. I want you to imagine what you would do if you were buying this. If someone comes up to you at an event, at a farmer's market, and they pick up your product, what do they do with it? Do they rub their thumbs on it? Do they flip it upside down? Do they look at the back? Do they bring it close? Do they make it further away? Do they lean it up next to something else? Whatever that is, that's what you're doing in that video. Are you showing how you made it? No need. You can take a picture of how you're making it. You tell them how they make it. Show them what they want, what they would do when they handled your product. And then, you've heard me say this before, we don't just show, we tell. So if I have a picture and I'm showing someone, oh look, this picture's showing you how it's packaged. Great, tell me what I'm looking at. So you put in bullet points on this picture. Hey, it's packaged this so that it doesn't break. It ships within 24 hours. You can expect it in 3 days. Those are all amazing things to know when I'm in the logical decision making of checking out. And instead of just showing me a package, you told me what I'm looking at. That's the beauty of this. Okay. So you may be wondering, Jared, how do I set the stage here? How do I confirm identity? That's how we want to look at this. We want someone to get to our Etsy shop, to our website, and we want them to say, I'm in the right place. This place is for me. This is how you do it. This is how I used to do it, but with AI, it can very much change. But what we would do is, I've worked with brands, big brands, and we would take their reviews, go through them, and extract what people loved, and wordage, meaning how are they saying it, and what negative things they were saying. And because negative can project or can show fear. If someone gets, man, it was smaller than I thought, and then we're like, no, okay, these people are afraid that it's smaller than what they think. If the product isn't solved, people will continue to have that problem. But we can extract pain from there. You can also extract positive experiences and what they like, which is a better route to go. Because when you have a hook, that's the word is that you use. So, for example, what we would do and what you can do with AI is you can drop this into AI and you can say, this is how I would say it. I would say, I'm looking to create a hook from my reviews that confirms the identity of those who are coming to my shop. I want them to know they're in the right place by, and this is the term that is used, they call it echoing a customer's positive voice. So if you enter into a store and you're hearing the echoes of customers' positive experiences, like, Jedis of old speaking to you through the Force, that's what allows you to feel that confidence to buy something. Because if you ever want to be good at sales, you want someone to respond to you by saying, you read my mind. Oh my gosh, you read my mind. That's exactly what I'm thinking. Your reviews can do that for people, but they're not going to sit there and read all the reviews like you will, but you can extract the hook that places it there, that makes them say, yes, I'm in the right place. I worked for a high-end clothing store doing their marketing, and they had a giant return window and were very good at returns. When we read the reviews, everything screamed how much people loved this and how much weight it took off their mind, because gosh, I could get in here and I didn't have to, it's expensive clothing, but I didn't have to worry about this stuff. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to buy a bunch of stuff, try it on. And if I don't like any of it, oh no, I feel like a jerk. They're going to give me a hard time. Like, we made it very clear. No, that's not what we're about. This is a complete hassle-free 365-day return policy. And we put that right under the product headline. So like, you saw what the product was, and then right underneath it was our right placed hook that just laid out exactly what made us different, and that let them know that they were in the right place. Is this something you're worried about? Don't worry. You're in the right place. We're going to take care of you. I did marketing for a dog company at one point that did treats, and their whole thing was, or not treats, supplements, and their whole thing was, it was like a treat. So this was like, people used to put in peanut butter and stuff like that so their dogs would eat it. And this company's like, no, this is a straight up treat. They're going to love this thing, but has all the good stuff that they ever need. So our thing was, your dog's going to beg for it. And so that's the hook is like, your dog will beg, will continue, it will eat these supplements. Like, you do not have to worry about that. And that's our right place hook, letting them know, are you here buying supplements, but you're also worried that your dog won't like it. And this is a big concern to you. You spend all this money on supplements and your dog doesn't eat it, turns away. No problem. They will. So that's what you want to do. And that can take place within picture, I would say video to picture 3, is to have a right place hook that speaks to that customer, that confirms their identity. You are in the right place. And this is because of that flash way that we make decisions. We make the decision very quickly, whether or not we're going to give our time, and then we slow down. And so that flash needs to be that confirm of identity. All right. If you like this kind of stuff and you're like, man, I wish I had a group of people that we were going to go through this together, and then I could give my hook to and see how it does on my website. Because you want to know what's crazy is just play around with your front images and hooks on your website. It makes a world of difference. If someone knows they're in the right place, they're making that flash decision as soon as they load your website. They are making a decision. And again, I think the term is so dead on. They're confirming their identity. Is this for me? Me, Jared. Not, is this a nice looking product? Do they look professional? Is it? No. Is this for me? So the more we understand about our customer, the more we present that hook, that emotional hook, or that right placed hook, that they say, yes, I love that. I connect to that. And that's what allows someone to then slow down, which is what we're trying to do. anyway, if you would love to sit around and talk about this in a group scenario and pass some ideas around and see some successful examples of what other people are doing so that you can do it in your own site, hey, you should join my mastermind. So sign up. I'd love to. What I typically do is I go through people's shops. I send them a video, and if I feel like you're a great fit, we'll talk about those options. But my thought process is, and so I'm going to say this, and I don't mean to say this in any other way, like not to scare you or anything like that. It's probably going to fill up this week. So this would be your chance to jump aboard. And don't worry, if you sign up and you don't get in, I keep your information. So as things open up, and as like I did this year, I reached out to 2 people who didn't make the cut last year, and I said, hey, it's open again. And those 2 people came back. So, okay. Till next week.